Extending the FxStudio system. Part 2. In this demonstration, we will show you how to implement the client-side changes that are required to support alpha referencing and our two new properties as added in Part 1 of this video series. We will be using Visual Studio 2005 for making our client-side changes. The two files that we will be editing are particlesystem.h and particlesystem.cpp, which contain the particle system implementation. In order to support our two new properties, the first task is to add two new FxStudio property member variables to the particle system class. The first property is a Boolean property and represents the useAlphaReference property that we added to the component definition. The second property is a floating point ramp, and this represents the actual alpha reference value to be used. The next step is to initialize these variables and to tie them to our particle system component class, which is done in the class constructor. These two new FxStudio property handles provide direct access to the FxStudio property data. Our last task is to now implement alpha referencing using our two new properties. This will occur in the particle system render loop. The next part is to use the actual alpha reference value from the FxStudio component instance, and we do that by querying our new alpharef property handle. I'm going to paste in some code that I wrote previously that demonstrates the usage of our new properties. First, you can see a test with the Boolean property useAlphaRef, and if that test passes, we set up some basic render states that use the value from the alpharef property. Finally, I'm going to paste another small block of code that resets the render states after rendering has occurred. This again makes use of our new Boolean property useAlphaRef. Now we have implemented this new feature, let's demonstrate it by running the reference application and playing an effect. So first we're going to compile. We're going to run the reference application. Then I'm going to bring up the designer, and I've got a new effect with one particle system in, which I'm going to now play. Let's embed the reference application, and we can take a look at our new alpha referencing properties. So, drawing your attention to the property editor below, I'm going to set up a ramp for the alpha reference value. As you can see, nothing is happening currently, because useAlphaRef has been turned off. So now I can turn on alpha reference, and as you can see, the entire system starts to fade out, and we have a brand new feature. This concludes Extending the FxStudio system, Part 2.